live now. Shit. Hey, hold on. Dude, I'm so excited you're here. I really wish I would have came. I wish I would have came to you, or you came here, or maybe both of us have air conditioned shops. That would have been nice. Because I think
It's
in
hot
person,
today,
yeah, dude, with your Mustang in the background, if people don't know who you are, let's give them a quick rundown of the setup, maybe in the car now, as much as you want to talk about, and then I think at one point, and I pulled my Sloppy Mechanics koozie out to keep my Miller Lite cold tonight. And I think at one point you had a little sloppy setup in it, right? Just small turbo junkyard LS.
Yeah, so I bought the car from a OG Sloppy Mechanics guy, Ronnie Forrester, and it had a just a cheap 5.3, a cast wheel 76 millimeter turbo, just a bunch of eBay stuff, and I'd never had anything like that before. I had a GTO with twins that was super heavy and was a terrible race car. So I mean, I just thought this thing was the fastest car in the world at that point. But it's kind of evolved a little bit. Each kind of iteration, build a motor, buy a turbo, build a motor, buy a turbo, and kind of go back and forth. And now it's kind of got to where it's a little bit more serious, but still, you know, it's a stock block deal still. So it's a 5.3 with a nice rotating assembly. It's got a set of nice cylinder heads on it, some trick flow heads, and then a big turbo. It's got a Precision Pro Mod 88.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's a 03 Mustang. I don't know if we clarified that. Yeah, it's a 03 Cobra. It was a really nice Cobra at one point in time, but the guy that I bought it from, it was like a bare shell that he'd kind of put together, and then I went over the top with it here in the last couple of years.
Yeah, and it's funny because like I think I've only ever known you with that car. I don't think I knew you with the GTO, and I think we probably met at one of the Mocan events or something like that. And so that car, I think I've always known it as a Turbo LS. And I mean,
yeah, I had a handful of cars. I just tried to race stuff. I had a cam only Camaro, and then we put a bunch of nitrous to it, and it kept breaking transmissions. It was a stick car. I had a lot of fun doing the stick thing, but I bought the GTO kind of anticipating like I'll buy something a little bit more streetable, and then it got a blower, and then it got twin turbos, and I tried to race it a lot, and it was a terrible race car.
Yeah.
So I sold it, and I bought the Mustang, and I haven't had it since. I sold it once. It kept hurting itself, so I got fed up and said I'll buy a Corvette. So I bought a C6, and it stayed stock for like 2 days. We sprayed like a 200 something to it almost immediately. So I figured, man, if it's going to be broken all the time and sitting in my garage, I'll just buy the Mustang back. So I built a turbo Camaro in the meantime also, but I bought the Mustang back, and it's been here for the last few years again. So I'm having a bunch of fun with it.
Yep. And then how fast has that car been?
In the quarter, I've been 8.1. I'd really like to dip into the 7s. I think it's capable of it. It's just, here or there, sometimes it leaves real hard, dead mile an hour. Sometimes it just screams out the back, but leaves like a slug. So just trying to get it all figured out again.
Yeah. And then, with different changes and different setups, I mean, what's funny is like, YouTube has probably helped us a little bit, but like, because now guys are showing their testing, but you got to think like you've got a regular job every day. You got a wife and family and all, kid and all this kind of stuff. So like, and a boat, and so like testing is, once a month, maybe.
Yeah. So I've been going a little bit more frequently here, just trying to get some stuff figured out. I put 28s back on the car, and I put a power glide in it last year, and I hadn't made really any passes with the power glide before race week. So I've gone 3 times since then, since race week's been over, maybe 4 times now, but it's just now going faster than it was on race week, and there's better air, and I'm on a bigger tire. It's just, trying to get stuff figured out. I don't want to flip the car over backwards, and it used to wheelie real bad. So just inching up on it, taking baby steps. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of effort into getting something figured out and squared away.
Yeah. And especially like, where we live, you live like 20 minutes from me here in Northwest Arkansas, it's an hour or 2 to any track. or
Mhm.
you're on the street somewhere, well, then still it's, probably, I don't know where you would street race, but like 30, 40 minutes. So, and
Mhm.
then getting the road ready and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's difficult to get out there and do all that. So it's crazy. And again, I think that's what YouTube has helped with. People now kind of understand you just don't build a car and walk into some 8-second passes.
No, and like the car now, it seems kind of dumb. Like it'll go faster than it should be going in the quarter mile, like coasting at the eighth. But the difference between like an 890 car and an 820 car, it's tremendous. I mean, it's a massive amount of power in getting the car figured out. Like I went 890s in like 2016 within a few weeks of putting the car together, and I had no idea what I was doing. Just lucked into it and poured the boost to it, and it didn't blow up.
Nice.
But to do it consistently and to go, the difference between 150 and 170, it's a big stretch from that point. And I'm kind of trying to get over the hump into more serious, but it takes a lot of cubic dollars and a lot of effort. So kind of
Yeah.
battling what I want to spend my time and money on. And it's streetable, it works. So I'm
Yeah.
having fun with it.
Well, and how many race week or drag and drive events has that car been on?
I've done the 2 Rocky Mountain race weeks, and then I did our drag and drive thing earlier this
Hmm.
year, and I think that's it for that car. I've used a little turbo truck that me and Jason put
Yeah.
together. I mean,
Yep.
mostly Jason, but I've borrowed it, and there's something to be said for a borrowed race car. You can thrash on it; it's great. So
Yep.
I don't mind taking it a bit. I've had a bunch of fun using it also, but yeah. So two Rocky Mountains, one of our deals, and then I've been a co-pilot for Rocky Mountain a couple of times also, once with Jim and once with Jason.
That's awesome. And then I think Stone Cipher, who's going to be on next week, it was your co-pilot for 2021 1.0.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm him. So next week, I'm going to him, and we're probably just going to record because I don't think he has very good connection there.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just going to record, but I'm coming back with a crazy ass project. I'm not even going to tell anybody about it yet because it's got to happen. But let's just say some of the stuff that's back in the field behind his place, some of that's coming home, or coming
He's
here.
got a lot of cars. He probably needs to get rid of some of them.
Yeah, well, part of it's going to be a car. The other part is it's going to be interesting. So the plan is for 2022 1.0 to attend in this drivable vehicle that I'm picking up from him. So it should be a ton of fun, and it's going to be dumb and like everything else over the top. So
Yeah, that's
so
awesome.
excited about that. Yeah, it ought to be a ton of fun. All right, well, let's get into it, dude, because uh, you've got some fun stories. Being around the level of cars and the car you obviously have is a lot different than running 15-second passes in the Narcs cart, so I'm interested to hear your stories and like what's it like to drive an 8-second car, 1,500 miles, and like how you prep that car for that, all that kind of stuff. So we'll dig in. What is your typical, because you went Rowdy Radio, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is
Yep.
like I don't even, they're not called small tires. What are they called? Tiny tires.
They're
When
real
you
small
run.
tires. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
26.85 or a 235. It's a little bitty tire. So I
Yeah.
think you can run a slick in it. We ran the little Mickey Thompson radial.
Hmm.
I mean, the tire works. It'll
Yeah.
hold quite a bit of power, but there's a little balancing to it. You can either hit it hard and try and pour the coals to it and do a big burnout, or let it wheelie when you try and pour the coals to it 300 feet out. So it's been fun though. I'm having some fun on them.
That's awesome. So what's if people don't follow you on social media, dude, when you went from the 26s to the 28, oh my God, it's like that car looks completely different.
It leaves a
It's
lot
a
harder on the 28. Yeah.
Oh, I can only imagine. I mean, like it looks like massive amounts of traction aid by the
Yeah.
difference in
So,
tire size.
and a lot of that also is just the kind of tune up you're trying to use for race week. If you smoke the tires, it's a wasted pass. I mean, I would rather have
Yeah.
something a little bit slow and conservative and have something to turn in. But if I knock the tires off, I can't recover it. So
Yeah.
on race week, we're a little bit conservative, but the little tire, I'm usually trying to stick it and then pile the boost in. And then now on the 28, I mean, I'm leaving on like 15 pounds, ramping to 35 or so, just as quick as it can get in.
Yep. Red Hat Scotty said it's got to be night and day between the two, in the two tire sizes.
Yeah, and the difference is also how much mechanical advantage and gear change it has having the taller tire. So the 28, it needs a lot more also. The exact same tune-up between the two, the 28 is actually quite a bit slower than the 26, but it'll eat so much more power. You can kind of get after it a whole lot sooner.
Wow. That's interesting. And that's what's crazy is like, I'm trying to figure that up in my head on like the slow ass cart, or the old truck's going to get a tire for the shootout this year. So that ought to be a little fun to try and figure out. But what are some of because do you drive on the Mickey Thompson on the radials?
We did this year. Last year we swapped back and forth. My car's pretty low, and I got a stock location fuel cell still, like a behind bars race cars deal. So you can't really fit a jack under the rear end very easy. So last year when we swapped wheels and tires, you have to jack the car up, put it on stands, lower the rear end down to get the tires off, put the other tires back on, jack it back up, and then come back to the cage and jack it up to get it off of the jack stand. So, and it was a huge ordeal. So I figured, I'm going to beat these tires up all week. We'll just drive on them this year. And it worked out all right.
Yeah. Yeah. And you guys pulled a trailer too. What do you think that trailer weighs? 1,000, 1,500? It's probably 1,500 pounds.
Yeah. When it's fully loaded, we carried a lot of fuel with us. I think we brought 35 gallons.
Oh, damn.
Obviously we used it throughout the drive, but
yeah,
there was a fair bit of weight in there. We really thinned down this year versus what we did last year, kind of what we needed to bring versus, hey, we're not going to fix that. There's no reason to back that with. So, yeah, I mean, it was still heavy, but I would say it's every bit of 1,000 pounds.
That's crazy. And that's inside the I mean, the trailer probably itself probably weighs 300 or 400, I would think at least.
Yeah.
It's a tall trailer. It works really well. It's all within the stuff and it looks so cool, especially behind that car. I wish I had put some pictures in the whatever side stuff for this so people could see it, but that's what'll happen. So I'll figure that out as we go along here. I know there's a way I can do it. I just maybe Destroyer 1320 will drop me a note there and tell me how to add them pictures. I'm not very smart with that stuff.
We're learning.
Yeah, right. So all right, so let's talk 1.0. Well, we went through the list of drag and drives. I'm trying to go through my notes here. What was your favorite day of 1.0? Like, did you have a day that was like this one was the turning point right here?
Yeah, my favorite day was at Nebraska. And I mean, I'm not like a huge Nebraska fan, but we figured out what was going on with the car. It had pushed some water the night before at Vandermeer, and we found that it had an exhaust bellows that had blown out. So guy at an exhaust shop let me use his stuff. I mean, I wouldn't have let me use his stuff, but it was cool. Let me fix my car there. Had no idea what it was going to do tune-up wise, and we ended up just making a one and done. I mean, the car was way faster than it had been the day before on a little bit, lamer tune-up.
Yeah.
And then we got to have snacks the rest of the day. We hung out with the 1320 guys for a while. Hung out with Donovan, the guy that won the 850 class for a while. I mean, it was just awesome just to be able to do one pass and finish. And then we were the first fast car to make a pass once all the prep was done and the sun started to go down. So it was really cool that, a lot of crowd and stuff, everyone kind of gathering around. So I'm a fan.
That's awesome. Yeah. That track, I want to, again, that's why I want to go 1.0 because those are tracks I've never been to, that's
yeah. As far as the tracks go, I mean, I think there was a little bit of bad taste in some people's mouths about Nebraska because they had an issue with the timer on a handful of passes and, it's just kind of something that happens at racetracks. It was a windy day, stuff happens, but I really enjoyed it. The prep was good. The timing for me was great. I made a good pass there, and I got to hang out with a bunch of people, which we've been kind of struggling to do any fun up to that point. Vandermeer's probably the prettiest. I mean, I really like it there. It's a really cool layout and everything, but we struggled at Vandermeer. I mean, it was hot. Went and had to refill nitrous bottles, and then
that's what I was going to say.
There.
Is that where you put the nitrous on, I think, to help spool? Was it in Vandermeer?
Well, we put it on the last pass at Pueblo, and the car just immediately would spool and started doing what it was supposed to. Or so I thought anyway. I mean, it picked up a 10th, but then it picked up another 10th fixing the exhaust. I mean, and that's big in an 8th-mile car. So
that's awesome. See, so Eric said, sorry I'm late, Eric Englert.
Yeah,
he said,
Eric hooked me up. He's the one that helped me with the nitrous kit, so can't thank
Nice.
him enough. We would have been struggling. I bet it would have knocked the thrust out of it or burned the converter up long before we made it to Nebraska without him.
That's cool. Yeah, Eric's a good dude. And what's funny is I've been watching a lot of the Mac TV stuff, and he's in a lot of their videos. And I mean, just that's what's cool about race car folks, especially like you fast guys. It's you fast guys want other fast guys to be fast. It's not like, oh man, I'm not going to help that guy. Like you're like, hell yeah, let's turn it up. Let's see
Yeah,
what
that
happens,
was super cool. Like when I had hurt the head gasket, I mean, it pushed some water. It overheated in like less than 5 minutes driving down the road. We pulled over under an overpass, and they all pulled past us, all the Mac guys and Eric and them. And they were like, "Hey, you guys broke or what's up?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's broke. I'm calling a friend. We're gonna figure out a way to get home." And then we passed them like 3 hours later driving down the road. And they were cheering like so loud I could hear them over my exhaust. I was like, man, that's awesome. Like my car, I'm beating them currently, and they don't care. Like they were just all about it, and that's a huge part of what I like about this thing. Like, yeah, I want to win, but I want everyone else to succeed just as much. Because I mean, the winning and racing part's cool, but just doing it's like a big, big part of it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's Dan IT guy saying he likes the studio. Yeah. You mean my master bedroom here?
Yeah, I'm in my office currently. I've got
nice.
I've got it really well appointed in here too. I've got a $40 desk, 2 monitors, and a bookshelf with really not much on it. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. I do want to give a shout out to Destroyer 1320 for sending over some Rocky Mountain Race Week fund money. I appreciate that. And Dirty Panda too. Those guys, listen, we can't do what we're going to do on Race Week without you guys. I certainly appreciate it. We are buying parts almost daily, line locks. Y'all saw the list I posted on the Race Week page last night about stuff that's coming for the cart. So appreciate all the money. All the money is going, obviously to Race Week from here on out. So Dirty Panda says, I actually bought the head gaskets for my build, brought the head gaskets to Ice Cream Cruise just in case somebody needed them. Eric here says he only helps Boo because you're so pretty. And then Dan IT guy making fun of me because I'm in the bedroom. So that's funny. It's where the magic happens. That's why you got to come in here on the podcast, So, all right, let's get to moving on here. Let's see. How about we talked about favorite track. Dude, favorite car of the week. Like not yours, maybe 2 or 3 cars, because that's hard for a car guy.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Dougie's Nova. I like Novas a lot. I mean, it would be nicer if it was a 66, 67, but it's a 3rd gen Nova. It's still pretty awesome. It's on leaf springs. I mean, it's on a small tire. It's got a 4-bolt block, and it flies. I mean, it's just ridiculously fast, and it's super clean. They drive it on pump gas. I mean, it's just the coolest car out there, I think, for what it is.
Yeah, that car is wild to me. I'd love to have him on just to tell the story of that car, because that car goes 7s all the time, like 750s, right?
I think it's
60s?
quite a lot faster than that. Also, I'm not going to throw his business out or say how fast it's been or anything, but I imagine that on a good radial prep track in the 8th mile, it would show something that would be closer to a 6-second quarter mile, if not into the 6s with the right gear.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's fast. I love it.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's such a clean car. Any others that jump out at you?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really cool cars. A lot of the oddball stuff too is really cool. When we first pulled up, they had the Malibu pitted beside us. Just super cool car. I mean, just like 64, I think 65 Chevelle. I'd been helping a buddy put one together, and talked about doing Race Week with it. So to see somebody out doing one with it, just hey, it's out here, it's doing it. It was awesome.
Yeah. What's really neat is like, especially for folks that are outside of doing these events, like, so, there's a lot of people who've done Power Tour. It's like that, but cool stuff that ends up drag racing at the end of the day. It's not like how fast can I get to the next track? It's like, okay, we're going to pull over every hour because somebody needs fuel. And then like all your buddies that are behind you, cause they're going 50 and you're going 60, they pull in behind you cause they finally caught up and they need fuel. I mean, it's like, take over towns.
That's the 301 guys. I mean, they're long time drag and drive event guys, and they all travel together and do everything together for the most part. I mean, you
Yep.
see one person pull over, they all pull over, they get out lawn chairs, they're hanging out, fixing
Yeah.
valve train problems and somebody's stuff. It seems like more often than not.
Yeah. It's
So
pretty
yeah,
wild.
it's just a group affair.
Yeah, they're a good group, and I've had Lewis and Wendy on, and Austin once, and then I was gonna have Mike Sleeper and Hank and all those guys were getting Joel's car ready for 2.0 last year, and we were gonna go live from the shop, and then we just couldn't get good service, and I was so sad because man, that's being with that big group of guys, you'll get in trouble for sure.
Yeah, Sleeper raced in our class, and he had some growing pains. I think this year he added some turbos to his car, and
Yeah,
I mean, it looks killer, but I mean, I think that's just how it goes. Sometimes you have good luck
yeah,
and sometimes you don't.
yep. Well, and a lot of the just anxiety. Like, talk about putting a car together. A lot of us are always, I mean, we're adding stuff up until 2 days before. So you have no time to test with your new stuff. You have no time to
Mhm.
really be behind the seat for what's going to be 5 days. How many passes do you think you made during the week? You think you averaged?
During race week,
Mhm.
I made 14 passes.
Yeah. I
Yeah, I
mean,
keep
like,
track of all that stuff. So yeah, I mean,
yeah,
not that many passes, not really enough to get everything figured out. I'd made
right.
I think no passes on the 26s with the Power Glide before we left race week.
Dude, you're crazy. You are
Yeah,
crazy.
I did one burnout for a gender reveal, and that's it. Like, hadn't driven it at all.
And then what the car average all week?
I don't remember, honestly. I think probably in the 560s or something like that, or 550s. We had turned in a really bad pass the last day. We were averaging like a 42 or a 46 or something like that, and we were in first place coming into the last day. But
Yeah.
it's one of those deals.
Yep. So the one and done pass, what was your pass that day? Like, how, dude, hang on. How do you pull up, no runs down this track and rip like a mid 5 second pass? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, the car's been quite a bit faster than that, but not on the 26s. And
right.
it had been leaving pretty lazy still, even with the Power Glide. So we put the nitrous on it and decided to just spray it, the entire way down instead of just getting it to build the boost with it. And it liked it a lot. I mean, it picked up a lot. So I knew almost immediately after I squeezed the nitrous, like, yeah, this is a good pass here. I'm not doing this again. Like, hopefully it doesn't break the thing. But yeah, I mean, it ate it. It kept going. Little motor's been great. It's got 2 seasons on it now, and just plugging away for a 5.3. But yeah, I mean, there really wasn't a whole lot in it. I picked just a little bit safer tune-up than what I had tried the night before at Bandemere that didn't work and hurt the head gasket. And I figured, that'll go down. And within, I don't know, 0.1 seconds or so, you can kind of tell if it's going to strike the tire or not. So squeeze the nitrous and away we went.
That's crazy, dude. I can't imagine. Like, at some point in my life, I'll build a car that's relatively fast. Maybe not that fast, but relatively fast. And I think just because I want to learn like what that does, like how you make a solid hit, how you leave the line, how you get down, when you shift, all that kind of stuff. So Jonathan says, so you're a nitrous guy now? No, I'm
Big
always
time nitrous guy. Oh
yeah.
I love it.
So that made me think. So being that you're spraying now, does that tell you that you could handle a bigger turbo? Like, I'm completely squirreling here, but I mean, like, walk me through your next step on that car.
I'm going to put a big motor in it. I think, I think that's really the next step in it. Like, I know a lot of people have gone fast with a GT55 or Precision Pro Mod and a 5.3. It's just so hard to get it to put the boost to it. So like, we went and tested last week and I had a video for a while. I'm trying to get to 36, 37 pounds of boost in about 1.2 seconds. And it just physically won't do that. I mean, I'm commanding 40 at that point to try and get it to make 30, and it's still not even close. So I really just need a little bit more motivation for the turbo. Turbo should be good for 1600-ish tire, I think. And I'd like to make that, but I can't with the 5.3 and keep the smoke inside of it. So I think I'll probably do a bigger motor. I'm not sure what yet, either a 427 or a 388.
Nice.
But it should be a whole lot easier to get it to make the boost when it makes it. So that's really all I'm using the nitrous for right now, is to try and get it into the meat of the boost. Afterwards, it really doesn't add much. I mean, it I'm spraying it pre-turbo, so on versus off, it adds about 2 pounds versus what it would normally do.
Right.
But it just gets it into it a whole lot faster.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you're talking like a charge temp decrease instantly. Plus,
It
like, I
doesn't
mean,
change
not
the IIT nearly as much as I thought. We thought it would when we
wow.
checked it. Yeah, before and after the intercooler. Also, I got a bunch of sensors on this thing,
Yeah,
and I mean, it was like 10, 12 degrees, something like that. I mean, it really wasn't that big of a difference. I mean, right into the turbo, yeah, it's a big difference, but
yeah,
it's still compressing that air, making heat. So
yeah. That's crazy. So one of the guys, Dirty Panda, asked if Race Week runs 8th mile, and for a couple, I think 2 classes, that it's an 8th mile class, right?
I think it's just
So
the Rowdy Radial that's doing the
oh,
8th
okay,
mile stuff. Yeah.
gotcha. Yep, that makes sense. All right, sorry, we completely went off track there. I apologize. Anybody other than your co-pilot stick out in your mind like throughout the week that was your favorite person?
Yeah, Donovan Leader had the most fun out of anybody. The guy that won Limited Street 850. I mean, this dude would just show up, show out. He just had a blast. We cruised with him a handful of times leaving the track. We hung out with him and Kyle after Nebraska. I mean, he just had a freaking blast.
That's
We
awesome.
had some struggles on the last day, and he went and made like another 850 or 851, something like that. I mean, just fast enough to secure it. I mean, there was nothing anyone can do. And he came back to the pits just screaming, like the most pumped I've ever seen somebody at a racetrack before. It was awesome.
That's awesome. Now he has Capone, right? It's the early 50s Chevrolet,
It's
isn't
the
that right?
white Mustang, the
Oh,
gosh, what does he call it? Colombian Street Sweeper. It's the white
okay.
SN95 single turbo deal.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, the car just worked. He made some videos with it pulling an American flag. Like, yeah, it might be slowing us down. It might be pushing us. Like, this thing's awesome.
That's cool, man. That's cool. All right. Let's see. Oh yeah. Any gas stations or restaurants that were your favorites during the week? Funny stories, anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, we stopped at everywhere that sold the 85. We stopped at a co-op. I think they were setting some photo stuff up and some rollers and whatnot. And it was coming into Kansas on the last day. And I think that was the coolest. These people, they own the co-op. They said, yeah, we've never seen so many cars here before. They're like, oh yeah, that's probably good for business. And they were like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a co-op. We don't make any money off the fuel at all. We just like seeing all the old cool cars. We got security cameras here. We've been watching them do burnouts all day, and just something really, really cool to see, the other people around it enjoy doing the same thing, just in the whole scene of the drag and drive and car community thing. It was
Yeah.
awesome seeing it. It wasn't a nuisance. They didn't get mad. They liked it. They wanted it. And it wasn't just because they were getting business off it. They just wanted to see
Yeah.
cool cars and doing burnouts and stuff.
That's awesome. I think that's one of the coolest things about it is like, the 2-lane back road stuff when you're just cruising with your buddies and everybody's going 50 and it's rowdy race cars all around and everybody
Yeah.
is doing what they enjoy. Jonathan Stonecipher says, and ice cream sandwiches.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They gave us ice cream sandwiches too. It was awesome. Yeah. Really, really cool. Went inside and I really just needed some water. Like, you guys want some ice cream sandwiches? Yeah,
Who
absolutely.
doesn't want ice cream sandwiches?
Get out of this car that's 200 degrees inside. It's like, yeah, we'll have some ice cream.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So, after race week, because I'm going to keep it high level for race week, but I want to have you back on because I want to talk about like the in-depth stuff of pre and post intercooler temp sensors and all that kind, and how so that stuff really intrigues my brain, and I want to, because again, at some point in my life, I'm going to build a car that will go do that. And it's just interesting the fact of how much stuff people can track nowadays and how that affects tune-ups and safety features within software and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, people went way faster than I'll ever hope to with carburetors and ladder bars and leaf springs and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not reinventing the wheel by any means. My car is slow in the grand scheme of things, but it's a whole lot easier when you have a lot of information. You can say, hey, this is doing this is doing that, versus just, and I'm sort of a caveman compared to some, but it just makes it a whole lot easier and a whole lot safer.
Yeah. Well, and like, not that carbs and all that stuff are ladder bars are old school, but
Oh
and
yeah,
I get
I'm a fan still.
people want that stuff, but like I want to see all the data. Like, the old truck, I have one gauge inside. It's the boost gauge. That's it. I don't have a temp gauge. I don't have anything inside. I just drive that thing around and mat the pedal. I don't give a shit if it throws rods.
Well,
I
that's
don't
what
care.
I used to have mechanical gauges in my car, and I,
Mm.
tried to keep an eye on everything when I was driving it around.
Yep.
And now, I mean, there's just no point. My boost gauge back then, it said 20 was it, and now, I mean, it would max it out. It was like, oh well, it's making some still. Trans temp
Yep.
gauge was scary, so we took it out, so I didn't have to worry about that anymore. It was like, well, the only thing I ever look at is water. I mean, if it's got low oil pressure, it's a stock bottom in 5.3. I guess I really don't care. I'll wait until the dust come out of it. So I
Yep.
put a Holly dash in it now. I mean, it looks nicer and a little more functional, but yeah, well, we cataloged what was important. The rest of it, I don't want to look at most of it.
Yeah. So let's talk about temp, because I think that was when like you and the Matt guys, Stone Cipher told a story, or no, you were telling me the story about you guys are like on the side of the road, 220 degrees. So let's recap that story, because I said it on their live feed too. You guys are under an overpass. Well, you tell the story. I won't tell the story. You tell the story.
So yeah, we knew something was wrong with it. It was kind of making a little bit of a ticking sound after the pass at Vandermeer. So we checked everything out. It looked like it had blown an exhaust manifold gasket out. So I kind of thought that was the only problem. So we went to the hotel, went to sleep, woke up the next morning, went and bought a gasket. We started to take off towards the drive, and we drove back to the racetrack to start at, the starting point of the route that day. And it went from, cold ambient water temp to 230 degrees in like a 5-minute drive. I mean, just real hot, real fast. It was like, well, the head gasket's probably hurt. So we drained the overflow tank, and I mean, it's got oil in it. It's obviously a hurt head gasket. So we decided to just be done. Like, I've got 1/2-inch head studs, and the gaskets are drilled out. So it's not really something that's super easy to change on the side of the road. Yep. So I called a friend of mine and said, hey, can you come pick me up here in a little while? He lives in Denver. So we were kind of just planning on sitting. And then me and John sat there for a little while. It's like, I mean, it's broke. It's not getting any broker. I mean, I guess if you just want to keep running water through it over and over again, we'll figure it out. So we filled it full of fresh water, and we're sitting there, and the Mac guys drove by, and they slowed way down, asked if we were broke. And I was like, yeah, we're broke. I've got a hurt head gasket. They immediately offered it. We've got head gaskets. I was like, yeah, I'm not sure what we're going to do. It's not quite as simple as just popping one off and putting one on. It's a little bit more involved with these big studs and stuff. But I mean, they were all about it. So they cruised on, and we sat there for a little while, let the car cool off, and decided we would just keep going. So we got to almost the first checkpoint of the day, and I mean, it was late in the day already. I mean, we just kept going. One time it started to overheat again when we got up to the top of the hill, got passed by Alex, their new car that they'd put together. So kind of just watched some cars go by, let it cool off, and filled it up with water again. We took the intercooler off and put it in the trailer, put a piece of pipe to unblock the radiator, try and get it as cool as we could. And I mean, it cruised the rest of the day without really any issue. I mean, a lot of that was coming down the mountains. So a lot of it in neutral, just kind of cruising. And I think that kind of helped keep the temp out of it. But yeah, we passed them on the way to the checkpoint. And I mean, they were pumped, like yelling, screaming. I mean, I could hear them over the exhaust on my car, and it's loud. So yeah, just really, really good feeling to have people rooting for you, knowing that like, hey, I had thrown in the towel, and it would have bumped them up to second place straight away, or maybe first place at that point in time. And they were just all about it. I mean, it was so cool.
And what's cool about that, they were telling the same story, and they were like, yeah, this guy was worried about 230 degrees. He's like, we'd been 240 for like all day. Yeah. So that's pretty funny. That's awesome. Yeah, they're good guys. And that's really everybody on the event. I haven't met anybody that's not having a good time, unless they're broke, and they're just mad they're broke. They're not mad at the world, you know?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I wanted to win. If it was me or Randy, I would have picked me. But I'm glad he won still. I mean, he was apprehensive about racing the class. I mean, he tried out the little tires and was a front runner straight away on it. And it was awesome that he won. And then I did drop to third, which kind of hurts. But I mean, the Mac guys moved it up to second. Everyone there was super cool to help me out. So I can't complain a bit.
That's awesome. All right. Let's talk about food, because obviously you don't get as big as I am by not eating, right? You're not a big guy. You're not carrying as much weight as I am, which is probably good in a 200-degree car. How
Yeah.
do you handle meals on the road? Like, are you a restaurant guy? You like fast food? You bring your own stuff? How do you do it?
Me and John, we just kind of wing it each day. So when we stayed at a hotel that had food, we ate breakfast there at the hotel. We would try and
Hmm.
steal some fruit snacks and stuff like that to bring with. The middle of the day, it's so hot. I don't think either of us really cared to eat during the middle
Yep.
of the day. I mean, I would bring some snack stuff with. So beef jerky and granola bars, kind of the main things. And then just lots of water, pretty much it throughout the day. And then
Yeah.
at night, it kind of depended on where we got to and what time it was. So, like a couple times, we ate some whatever we could get out of a $1 a go machine in the hotel lobby. A couple times we went and had fast food. A couple times we ate gas station junk food, whatever we could get. I usually eat super healthy, real structured diet. Try and maintain the same thing I'm doing every time. So yeah, race week's just rough. Like I just eat total
Yeah.
crap day in, day out, all week long. But yeah, I mean I don't mind too much. Just beef jerky, granola bars, uh, water, lots of
Yeah.
water, and then whatever continental breakfast we can get.
That's
Try and stay
awesome.
away from the hard boiled eggs if you can. Stuff that's gonna
If you're
like
going to be a,
wreck you the rest of the day. But
yeah,
yeah,
150
just
degree car.
yeah, eat some cereal. Eat as much cereal as you can get for free, and then
Yeah.
cruise on.
Yeah. Milk was a bad choice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, let's talk about some of your gas station go-to food. So the notes I have, because like these are what I eat: fried burritos, pizza stick. You a corn nuts guy? What are you grabbing? Like if you have to eat at the gas station?
Like I am fairly healthy. I try and eat pretty healthy.
Yep.
So almost exclusively just granola bars and beef jerky. Like that's it. Well, I'll eat like an obscene amount, like a bag of beef jerky at a time, just
Nice.
as fast as I can get it in me. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah.
Every now and then, I think I got some of the little roller grill stuff, but
Oof.
it just tears me up. Yeah,
Dude,
can't
well, and
can't
that's
do it too
so
much.
dangerous. So
Yeah.
dangerous. I was gonna say we on for 2.0 last year, we grabbed and it was the same thing. We were like 2 or 3 days in, had not eaten lunch at all, for 2 days, and you just like you're hungry, and the
Hmm.
cart is probably better than like most other cars because there's so much airflow in there, right? So it being 90 isn't really as bad.
Hmm.
Um, Red Hat Scotty said beef jerky is like the car, all go or no go.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. It's either moving through or it's not. But we grabbed this bucket of beef jerky, and I think had eaten it. It was like a $25 local beef jerky, dude, all that kind of stuff, and had
Hmm.
eaten it in like 3 miles. We were like, oh my God, that was supposed to last all day. We
Yeah.
were just like grabbing this stuff. So that's
Yeah,
always
same
the
deal. You buy one of those $17 bags. You're like, I'm gonna splurge. I'm on race week.
yeah.
I'll make this last, and then it's gone before you fuel up again.
Yeah, right. That's too funny. Well, so are you doing 2.0? Are you plans for 1.0? Are you a 1.0
Yeah, I'm
guy?
not doing 2.0. It kind of is hard on my schedule. So
Hmm.
I'm an insurance agent, stay super, super busy throughout the summer. I try and
Yep.
take some time off to do race week, and then weekends I can usually get away
Yep.
1 day, sometimes 2 days, but doing 2.0, there's no way I can take time off this year. I was able to last year, kind of lucked into that, but
Yep.
not going to happen, unfortunately.
Well, I think there were a lot of people last year that were supporting Matt and June because, Drag Week had canceled. And
Hmm.
so, Matt I mean, that was the first time I'd ever met him, obviously, because I'd never done any of the race weeks before. But, I think a lot of people that aren't doing 2.0 this year did 2.0 last year because it was such a big help. You know, they, uh, they put together an event in like 4 days, and then now we needed that. Oh, I think he's frozen up. Let's see. Hang on. I'm going to take you off the screen here. See if we can. There we go. You're back.
Awesome.
Yeah. It froze up.
Yeah, the
So
2.0, I think it kind of attracts a little bit of a different crowd. Also, like I really
mhm,
like 1.0 because of the scenery and the drives and whatnot. And it's not just the
yeah.
completing the drives; it's completing those drives. Up and down the mountains
Yeah.
and stuff, and fighting the terrible DA and whatnot. You don't really have that in Oklahoma. I mean, it's flat.
No.
There's nothing. really super pretty to see in Oklahoma. Nothing against Oklahoma, but it's not nearly
Well,
as
and
pretty as Colorado.
well, and for guys like us, like this is where we live. You know, I mean, we're
So
like
yeah, I mean,
we
I
can
could
go.
do 2.0. It's less than 2 hours from my house, but
Yep. Yeah,
and my
I'm the
car's
same way.
faster.
So
It doesn't spool so slow. I mean, it would make sense, but just not really
you're
as
not
interested in doing that.
you're not going to Rocky Mountain Race Week for a trophy necessarily. You know what I mean? Like you're
Yeah,
not like, okay, I'm doing this event because I'm gonna win this class. You know, like you're not trying to set it up that way. You're doing it for the experience, and I think that's probably another big part
yeah,
for guys coming in too. Like just go to drive your car for a week. I mean, there's a lot of guys like. Now my shit's slow and I literally drive it every day if it's not raining. Sometimes when it's raining, I'm driving the cart. But there's a lot of guys that they won't make 15 passes in a year in their car, you know, and they
yeah,
take it on this event. So yeah, I think that's one of the biggest reasons to do, you know, these type things is to be one in the car you built, and then two, just around everybody that's done them and being there. So
yeah. The first time I did it was with my buddy Jason. He was John's co-pilot. That kind of got him into it initially, and then we did it in 19 maybe, or maybe it was 18. I don't remember now. But the first drive day, we drove up a hill past like a 2 chassis car, followed by like a bolt-on Camaro, and then a car that had wheelie bars on it. It's like, man, this is the coolest shit. Like, look at this. Like, you never see this anywhere else. We were driving to Royal Gorge or something like this, one way in, one way out. You can see a big long line of cars, and it was just like, you're never going to see 257 Chevys and 3,000 horsepower Mustangs and, you know,
yeah.
Novas and everything. Yeah, I mean, just you're never going to see a collection of cars like that all in one place, and to be doing what they're doing, period. Like you might see a car cruise where you got some cool stuff, but they're not driving out in the middle of nowhere up and down a mountain before going to race it.
Right. And that's the biggest thing. It's not a moving car show. It's like a moving, you know, race. You know, a lot of folks are, I mean, they're serious, especially like the index class stuff. You know, I mean, you end up in like
Serious.
11 class. Oh shit, man.
Yeah, that's what Jason, you know, he's raced it a few times, and I helped him the
Yep.
first go around, and then tried to a little bit the second time. It's so tight. I mean, we'd never index raced before ever. Didn't know what to run. You know, the truck will
Oh,
go
dang.
10-0s, but the tune-up we picked, it went 11-0 the first pass. We're like, all right, well, we're running 11-0 class. And I mean, this thing went 11-0 something every single day and still lost. It's like, man, that's unbelievable. Like,
Yeah.
don't know what we're doing, lucked into this, running 11-0s, feeling great.
Yeah.
Whooped on the last day.
Like an 1107 isn't going to get you anywhere in that class.
No, at 2.0 last year, I think the margin of victory between like first and 10th place or something was like less than 2/10. I mean, it was crazy.
Yep. Yeah, it's wild. It's an insane event. So we're about 43 minutes here. I don't know how long you want to go. I don't know if you want to tell some more stories because, dude, like the car's fast. You know, you've been around a ton of fast stuff, and these events are so neat because of the entire, I don't know, personalities that come out in it. You know.
Yeah, just the whole atmosphere about it's super cool. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
really know what to expect the first one I did. Thought, man, this is a little bit ridiculous. You know, I hadn't really street driven my car much. I drove it to Walmart and took pictures of it, drove it to a car cruise, told everyone it was a street car. And then on the first day of the first time I did it, John, my co-pilot, had put more miles on my car than I had in 5 years. And I mean, I just had a blast. I had a ton of fun doing it. So I'm just going to keep doing it as long as they are. I think next year I'll probably try a little bit more serious. I don't know if I'll do the Rowdy Radio class again or not.
Yeah.
I have rented out the back a couple times here lately, and it feels pretty good to go real fast. So we'll see what happens. I'd like to mix it up with some of the faster stuff, but I don't know if it will really have the capability to go more than 750s, 760s. And I don't know if that'll be competitive in the classes that I'm allowed to go 750s in. So we'll see what happens next year, but kind of leaning towards putting a bigger tire on it and zinging it, but we'll see.
Yep. Now you talking about a bigger tire than like the 28-10-5 or?
Well, maybe. I had a 29.5 on there for a little while, and it fits just fine. I think a radial would work. I'm afraid that the slick will grow and tear up my brand new paint job. So I only made a handful of hits on the slick and was like, yeah, you know, it drives like a slick, which is pretty crappy.
I
So
can
I
only
might put
imagine.
a 315 radial on it or 29.5 radial, but the 28 will run out the back right now as is.
That's
Uh,
crazy.
I mean,
Uh-oh.
it's got a 355 gear, so I think it'll probably do high 170s there, which is kind of right at the low end of what I need to do. So we'll see. I'm gonna.
Dude, that's crazy. Like, how fast do you have to go to go 750s? Like mile
I
per
have no
hour?
idea. I hope to find out. I think probably mid 180s. I
God,
think
that's so fast.
you could probably do it low 180s if the car left pretty hard. I mean, I've been low 170s with my little stock block 4-bolt deal, not really knowing what I'm doing. So kind of getting a handle on it. I think with a bigger motor, get this turbo rock and roll in it, it'll be substantially easier to get some power in it early.
Jeez. And what's nuts is like, I mean, you're talking about a car that's got doors and like windows go up and down. And I mean,
Yeah, it's all
it,
there. It's all stock interior. I mean, it's got back seats, it's got factory console. I mean, it's got cup holders and stock dash and everything. It's all there.
that's what's, I think like if you moved back 20 years and you told dudes then what we would be doing with cars now, they'd think you were crazy.
Oh yeah, I mean, even 6 or 7 years ago when I first started doing this, I put a cage in the car and was like, I'll never run an 850. I mean, there's no way this thing will run 850s. And I did it 2 years later. I mean, it was just like, oh, okay, this isn't that difficult, I guess. So, yeah, I mean,
Wow.
it's just crazy how much better technology's gotten and how fast things have gotten. But it also kind of sucks, also. So, around here, a small tire race car now, it needs to be fast, or I mean, you can't compete. So, I'm on the outside looking in now as far as a legit small tire race car. So do I want it to be a legit small tire race car and have it suck a little bit more on race week, or do I want it to just be a little bit better at both? So kind of weighing my
Yep.
options there. We talked about earlier, I might end up buying a little bit more serious car and kind of keeping the Mustang
Mhm.
as is, but we'll see what happens. Kind of up in the air.
That's crazy, man. All right, dude. Well, I'll let you go. I'm gonna try and actually sneak out to the shop for a few minutes and see if I can get this blow off valve mounted up on the cart. So wish me luck.
Don't work too hard. That's Doug's thing, right? 30 minutes a day. If you
Yep.
put 30 minutes a day in it, you'll build a race car.
Yep. That's exactly right. All right, dude. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude. Stay with me. I'm gonna close it out and then I'll be right back. All right, y'all listen. Thanks to Boo for coming on. I'm gonna be on live as often as I can because we are 4 weeks from race week. I cannot believe it. It's insanity. So, all right, I'm leaving. Bye.